Maybe one day I'll walk Pemberley hand in hand with Darcy. No. I can dream it. Hi and hello. It's Kristin from Kristin and Her Books. Welcome back to my channel. I'm glad you're here. And today we are going to be doing my favorite classics of all time. And this was honestly very hard to compile a list of because as an English major graduate from college, I have read numerous classics, even throughout high school. And so there's so many that it was a little difficult to kind of narrow them all down to which ones I would say were my favorites, but I think I did it. And I'm excited to share them with you. I'm going to just talk a little bit about basic information about these books, but basically they're classics. You probably already know all of it. So instead of telling you much about the plot, I'll just share a little bit about why they mean so much to me. I have narrowed it down to, like I said, the top 10, and we're going to go in order from 10 to 1. So stay tuned so that you'll see my very most favorite of all. Alright, so to get us started, my number 10 on this list would be To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. This, of course, is a story that deals with race tensions in the South, but one of the reasons that it's so dear to me is because of the character of Scout. I absolutely love how adorable she is, and I love how Harper Lee was able to create so much fun humor in the story, even though it's so dark. Scout's friendship with Dill and Jim just always warms my heart. And whenever I think about Scout dressed as a turkey or something, a ham bone, I just start laughing. So I love the humor in this classic, and that's why it's number 10 on my list. Number 9 is Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. I have another Jane Austen book that's higher up on this list, but I actually love Jane Austen. And particularly this book, Northanger Abbey, is kind of a little bit of a spoof. I believe that Jane Austen was kind of playing off these dramatic romantic stories that were coming out around the time that she was writing, because it does have to do a lot with like, ooh, is there a ghost, and these kind of passionate romantic vibes. But I'm a little bit swoony for these soap opera elements and dramatic vibes in a story, and I really related to the fact that the main character can never really make up her mind. Like, she thinks that she wants something that she actually doesn't. Like, that is me. Kind of like she wants this fairy tale thing instead of reality. I don't know. So because of all of that, Northanger Abbey is number 9 on my list of favorite classics. Moving on to number 8, we have Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. Yes. And this is some people call it a psychological thriller. I don't know. It's a dark, a little bit more modern type of classic. Like, it came out in the 1900s about a girl who marries someone and then finds out that this memory of his ex-wife is almost its own presence. So I like the dark and creepy aspects of Rebecca, as well as the romance that at first you think isn't a romance but then turns out to actually be a romance, and how the way that this book is written, it really plays around with your mind. I totally thought something completely different was going on until we got to like this midpoint twist in the story that was done so well. Guys, there's a reason why so many people like Rebecca, so if you haven't read it, I 100% recommend, especially like in October, because the dark vibes of it I think go well with that time. Number 7 on my list is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. This is also a kind of more modern classic, meaning that it came out in the 1900s. It follows the story of a girl who kind of starts to she develops a mental illness, but then, spoilers, recovers from it. It's been described as being exceptional for the fact that you kind of feel like you are experiencing the same mental illness Esther Greenwood in the story feels herself. I saw some of that as well. And I think what I really liked is that at the heart of the story, it is about a girl just trying to find herself. And that's something that I always relate to. So I also love Sylvia Plath's writing style. She's creative with her descriptions and metaphors, which you would expect because she was a poet. So yeah, that's why this one is number 7 on my list. Number 6 on my list is one that people are probably going to eye roll or shake their heads for, but simply I do not care. I stand by it 100%. And that is The Great Gatsby. We know this story, right? Daisy Buchanan, Gatsby, he wants Daisy, she can't make up her mind, all of that. But the reason that this story means so much to me is because I think that there's a deep, twisty part of myself that wouldn't mind to be so obsessed over, like Gatsby obsessed over Daisy. Or at least like the idea that someone would love you so much that they would spend years trying to do what it takes to win you, and their love would never change over all that time away while they were working to become the type of person that you needed them to be. Say what you will about that. Maybe it's kind of weird. And also just the writing style. Oh my gosh. Boats. And so we beat on. 2 boats moved forward into the past or something. I love Fitzgerald. I read most of his books, but Gatsby still remains to be one of my favorites. So, haters, you can hate. I'ma love it anyways. Number 5 on this list, and one that should come as no surprise, is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. We know the story of the sisters and their love and the wholesomeness, but one of the reasons why I love this story so would actually be because of Jo. I feel like in so many ways I am Jo, maybe a little bit more feminine inclined version of Jo, I suppose. But I am also a writer. I am also pretty fiercely loyal to those who are close to me and very much driven by my dreams and hard work and passion. So I love Little Women because of the sisters, but because I relate to Jo so much. In fact, in all of the characters that are in this list here, Jo is one of the ones that I think most represents me. And I think there's no problem in loving a book because you think that you're like the main character. I think props to Louisa May Alcott for writing such a relatable, beautiful character, like our sweet and sacrificing Jo. Number 4 on this list is Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. Yes, I know this book is sad, and you're probably thinking, Kristin, why would you like such a sad, horrible book where a girl gets run over by a train? Oh, sorry, that's a spoiler. I like it for so many reasons. I like it because I have a darkness to my nature, just like Anna Karenina. And while I don't know if I would ever commit adultery on a husband, I mean, I would like to think I wouldn't, I appreciate how psychological this book, like other Russian novels, are. I love how we deal so much with these strong internal conflicts. And honestly, because of Anna's situation, I don't exactly judge her, especially when you start to get into thinking about how lonely and depressed she was. Like, I feel like so many of us can relate to that loneliness and depression too. So I really actually sympathize with Anna and hate the ending of the story and enjoyed following through her journey to try to figure out her life, even if it didn't go so well. Now we're getting into my top 3 favorite classics, and I'm going to try to not get emotional, but guys, these are the stories that changed my life when it came to books. So let's start with number 3, Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne. These are, of course, children's stories about Winnie the Pooh. Why do they mean so much to me? I think because of the simplicity of childhood and love. Like, I want that so much in my life as a 23-year-old adult now. I look back on childhood and I'm like, why did I try so hard to grow up? And Christopher Robin and his wholesomeness and his relationship with Pooh as he tries to figure out the world himself, it's just so pure. The stories are messages for children, but they're messages for grown-up children too. And whenever Christopher Robin leaves the 100-acre forest to go off to school and he leaves Winnie the Pooh, I cry every time because it's so damn sad that kids have to grow up and we have to start facing all the challenge and rejection that comes with that. I just don't think that love can always stay so pure and innocent. Like, kids grow up and the dreamer in me just wishes that you could hang on to that forever. So those stories embody that pure, wholesome youth that I want back. They're also funny, and I love how Pooh loves to eat so much because hashtag same. Then we have number 2. This is a Jane Austen book. Which one, Kristin? Oh, surely you know, because everyone does. This is Pride and Prejudice, the story of Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy. Is it cliche to be number 2? Am I basic? Probably, but so be it. I love this story of wrong first impressions. I love the story of a character who is so flawed that her pride and one's prejudice keeps them from falling in love at first. It's realistic and true. And then I swoon over Pemberley. Mr. Darcy will always remain one of my most top fictional crushes, just for his kind of rough demeanor, but heart of gold. I love that. So yeah, the story is dear to me for all of those reasons. And hey, maybe one day I'll walk Pemberley hand in hand with Darcy. No. But I can dream it. I love this book so much that I hate any retelling or attempts to redo the story because it just never gets it right. Only Jane Austen could have gotten the story right. And so every time since then, when I hear about a retelling, I don't get excited because I know it's going to suck. All right, number 1 on my list. Many of you already know it, but I will tell you anyways. My favorite classic of all time is Jane Eyre. This is the book that I read that kind of solidified the fact I knew I was going to devote my life to literature. After reading it, I decided I was going to be an English major. I was going to probably become an English teacher of some sort, and maybe potentially I would write stories. Yes, guys, stories are powerful, and that's what this one did for me. So I could tell you about Jane Eyre and how she falls in love with Mr. Rochester and how there's this mystery, but you all know that most likely. So why this story means so much to me is because I want to be Jane. While I relate to Jo, I desire to be Jane, and the fact that Jane is so independent and sure of herself and stands so steadfastly to her principles, whereas sometimes I even question what my principles are. So Jane is like the me I desire to be, and I love her passion encased in such a little humble shell. I desire to be that humble and kind at the same time as well. I could tell you how much I swoon over Mr. Rochester for a lot of the same reasons I do over Mr. Darcy. That adds to it. But really, it's mainly Jane. I mean, she is flawed, especially in her childhood, but she grows into this type of woman that I want to be. I would like to think that in the case of love, I would make the difficult but true choice too, and not just, I don't know, marry out of convenience or something. So there you have it. Those are my top 10 favorite classics, ranked in order. I hope that you liked this video. If you did, go ahead and hit the like button. In the comments below, let me know if you've read any of these classics. I'm sure you have, and which one of them is your favorite, or if your favorite didn't make the list, please let me know because I would love to hear what that was. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I post new videos every Wednesday and Saturday, and I'm doing a new Wednesday series where I talk about book cover changes through the ages. So if you're a cover snob like me, then you might enjoy that. Alright, that's going to be it for now. Thanks for stopping by. Bye.